Welcome back. On today's video, I wanted to talk about being okay. What does this mean? Well, let's get into it a little bit. Being okay means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and it varies at different times in our lives. However, we can establish a foundational level of being okay with ourselves, our situation, and others that allows us to grow, to get through the tough times, and to flourish in the good times. So let's start with what this means. The first thing I wanted to bring up was something that was developed by someone named Maslow, and we can get a little bit more into who Maslow was and what he did. He was a psychologist in 1943 to 1954, and he talked about the needs of humans organized as this pyramid shows here. So what does this show? Well, we start at the base, and that talks about physiological needs. It's very difficult for someone to be in an okay state of mind if they are having trouble breathing, having trouble finding food, water, shelter. Those are kind of your basics, clothing, and sleep. These are actually in order of importance too. If you can't breathe, you're going to be struggling, you're going to be fighting. After you can breathe, if you can eat, well, then you can seek out the next things. Food, water, of course, are critical to life. Shelter becomes the next most important thing, followed by food, clothing, and sleep. If you're able to take care of those items, then you can move up into the next. And that would be safety and security, starting with your health, employment, property, family, and social ability. These are all different things that if we're able to focus on, we can gain a foundational level of being okay, and then start to focus on our mental health. Now, people that don't have housing, of course, they can focus on their mental health, and they should. But if we're able to establish these foundational needs, the physiological, and then get to safety and security, once we have those, we can start building a life based on that. Some people will try to seek out things in different order. They'll try to seek out their confidence achievement while they're still in a lower physiological state. And you won't have the foundation to be able to continue to grow and do it long term. Does it work for some people? Sure, but it's better if we build on a foundation from strength rather than build on a foundation from a position of weakness. I spent some time in the Philippines, and we used to see what we'd call nipa huts out there. And nipa huts could be built very well, but if they weren't, what they are is elevated huts where they're built above the ground, and they have these foundation posts that go into the ground to support the house. If those foundational supports are not strong, any wind will cause the entire house to sway back and forth. Flooding, if it comes through, can push it over if you don't have a strong foundation. Our homes in the United States are no different, or in any other country that we visited. If you start with the foundation, you give yourself a much firmer footing to build on. Now, there was a video I watched that once we get through this, there was a video I saw on Instagram that I wanted to watch real quick that talks about some of the self-perceptions that we create, and how after we create our foundation, once we're on a firm footing, how we start to look at the world. This was very interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look at this.
I'll give you a little test. Look around this room right now and notice everything you can see that's brown, okay? Everything you can find, it's a test. Look all around, both sides of you, anything you see that's brown. People at home, look at that in your own room. What you see is brown. Okay, close your eyes.
Okay.
Tell me everything you just saw that was red. Now, obviously, you saw a lot more brown, didn't you?
Yeah.
Why? Because you're looking for it. Open your eyes, now look for red. Look for red anywhere you can find red, any place you can find red.
Okay.
Okay, did you find more red?
I thought this was very interesting because it's very true. In our lives, we are going to find what we look for. If we're going to look for unhappiness or things that are bad, things that happen to us that are just not fair, we're absolutely going to find them. If, though, we look for things that we can be grateful for, little blessings we have in our lives, coming from other people, from higher powers, from others who we may not expect, if we look for the good, we can also find it. It was interesting to me when I've visited areas that are extremely poor, going back to the Philippines analogy. When I was in the Philippines, I saw people that had nothing, that were living 7 people in a 7 by 13 room, a family living in what was called the reclamation area at the time. They were some of the happiest people, even though they struggled in some areas, where I've seen people who are very, very, very wealthy, and they're miserable. All you have to do is look to Hollywood or in the media, and you see that all the time. What we look for, a lot of times, determines what we can see. Let's go back into this video a little bit further to see what else he talks about.
At this time? How come?
Because I was looking for red.
That's right. Once you develop a belief, you find what supports it. So watch this. You will find stuff that's not even there in order to be successful. I bet you saw some beige shit, called it brown just to feel successful, did you?
Right over there.
I bet you saw some things burgundy and called them red just so you could feel successful.
I factored in some of those now and later.
You see what I'm saying? If you think you're screwed up, you're messed up, you're going to find and you're going to color yourself that way. Whether you think it's true, whether you think it's not, it's going to be true for you. In other words, whatever you believe is self-evident. You reinforce what you believe.
How about that? Whatever we believe, we will find evidence of it. The challenge for us is to break free of that and to focus on what we want to see, to focus what really is and find out what we can change to improve ourselves. Something that I read in a book, and I can't remember which book it was, it talked about being alone with yourself. And I did a quick Google search about this, and it's interesting what you see. You find this first thing on top is people are terrified of being alone with their thoughts. And think about it. When you're alone, what do? Do you listen to the radio? Do you have to have music on? Do you find podcasts that are uplifting? Can you be alone with your thoughts for 30 minutes? And if you can't, then maybe it's something that is foundational that you can work on. Something else that I found was, as I was going through a course about happiness and being a happiness coach, was people want to be happy. Everyone wants to be happy. But not everyone knows what that means. What is happiness? And what starts being able to define your happiness is by doing just that, by defining what does happiness look like? What does it mean? What do you have to do? What steps do we need to take in our own lives to be able to be happy? So a couple of other thoughts. Being okay starts with being okay with ourselves. Getting ourselves into a position where we can grow starts with having that stability. The Maslow's hierarchy needs, having the safety, the security, being able to breathe, have food, water, shelter, clothing, sleep. Notice that doesn't talk about everything being healthy at that level. It means being able to survive, being able to have a place to stay, clothes to wear. Getting into a relationship isn't going to fix things if we don't have that foundational level, because we may not be able to get in a position in a relationship that is even stable for us. So we've got to take care of our base level needs first. After that, we can start looking at safety and security. Then we can start looking at our health, at our position, at our finances. And if we're able to get into those, we can start building happiness. But more importantly, we can be okay. So I wanted to leave that with you. This is very high level and this is very basic. But if you are able to satisfy your foundational needs and then build on that with health and security, if you're okay being with yourself and you're able to plan for your future, thinking things through, you'll be okay. You'll be able to get through the tough times. You'll be able to focus on what you need, and you will be okay. I hope this has been helpful. We'll go more into this later, but if it has, please give us a like down below. If you like this type of content, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and if you know someone who may benefit from this, please do share the video. Thanks for being here. We'll see you on the next one.